He might say a few things that people don't always like.
You don't want your daughter to hear, for example?
My granddaughter.
Granddaughter, see, look at that.
But, maybe I don't always say all the things I should either. So
Fox News and the Wall Street Journal fight me because Murdoch is a globalist. That's right. Rupert Murdoch is a globalist. You don't know that? And I am America first. It's very simple. I put America first. It will always be that way, so get used to it. The Sanctimonious, by the way, is done. He was a Murdoch pick, just like Jeb Bush was a Murdoch pick. How did that work out? Just like Hillary Clinton. Murdoch liked Hillary Clinton, crooked Hillary.
Trump's social network Truth Social has always existed on shaky ground, but the end may now be near for the network unless a merger with Digital World Acquisition actually goes through. The merger deal has been on hold for 2 years already, and the deadline for closing is coming up within just a few days on September 8th. If that doesn't happen, Digital World will legally be obligated to return $300 million to investors. And returning $300 million is a far cry from the optimistic projections that were originally proposed to the investors. At the time the merger was announced in October 2021, it was said that Truth Social would be worth $875 million at the start and could be worth up to $1.7 billion later. As of recording this video on Tuesday, September 5th, Digital World has a shareholder meeting scheduled for today, and it's hoping to get enough votes not to close the merger, but just to extend its September 8th deadline by another year. If the votes aren't there, the deal gets scrapped, Truth Social operations cease, the $300 million gets returned to its nearly 400,000 investors at a price per share that's much lower than what most of them paid for it initially, and Trump gets nothing. Now, this isn't the first extension that they've gotten, and this certainly isn't the first time the vote has been postponed. Since August 2022, the vote was postponed 6 times because it didn't have enough investor support. In order to pass, the company would need 65% yes votes, and all non-votes count as no votes. The trouble is, the bulk of the shareholders aren't typical investors, they're Trump fans, so they're either not engaged in the process, they're unaware of what's going on, or they're not educated enough to understand the details and implications of the vote. And Trump is blaming all of this on the SEC, saying that the agency is trying to sabotage him with bureaucracy. Now, by the way, the merger today is far less valuable than it was just 2 years ago. At its peak, the company's stock was valued at $175 per share, and today it's just $14. So why is this happening? To put it briefly, Digital World Acquisition is an SPAC, or a special purpose acquisition company. This means that Digital World raises money from investors to buy into a private company before identifying the target. Once that target is identified and disclosed, it then works to merge with that company and make it public, skirting some restrictions and requirements associated with typical IPOs. In the case of Digital World and Truth Social, the merger was never completed and Truth Social was never made public. According to the rules of SPACs, if the merger doesn't go through, the money that was raised is returned and the company is liquidated. And this merger has had problems from the get-go. First, there were allegations that discussions of the merger between the SPAC and Truth Social began much earlier in the fundraising process than they should have. In 2022, its CEO was removed from the board, and another board member was arrested on charges of insider trading. Then, Digital World had to pay an $18 million settlement on charges of misleading investors and presenting false information to the SEC. And it's kind of funny because now the investors, who again are mostly Trump fans, are being spammed in their inboxes with emails that read urgent and don't delay. So while it is actually urgent and while people actually shouldn't delay on taking action here, it all just kind of probably gets lost in a lot of the other hyperbole that we see in our inboxes. Like, don't delay could mean don't delay, don't miss this sweet Labor Day deal on patio furniture. And then it goes straight to the trash or worse, into the junk folder. And everything is a signal for the end of the world. And whenever something happening is the worst imaginable thing that could be allowed to happen, it's hard to discern the things that actually matter from the things that are just kind of fluff. Now, I don't personally care what happens to Truth Social. I think the world would probably be better off without it, but they still have things like Rumble and X. The people on Truth Social will still have a place to congregate and connect with one another. Of course, the idea of Trump making no money off of a culturally divisive vanity project is fun to think about. All right, that's it for me. If you got anything out of this, please like and subscribe to the channel and be sure to follow me on all of the socials. And also, please check out my new podcast, Modern Context. The first 2 episodes are out right now, and I think they're fun. Thanks.